Hello and welcome to another tutorial of HTML and CSS working with tables. In this tutorial, we will explore some more table properties or some more table tags. And we would now like to introduce a tag called caption. The caption tag stays with the table, however, outside of the table, and that gives some message that you want to display on the table. For example, if this is what I would like to display right above my table, list 2014. So if I go here under run and I choose my browser, and here you can see list 2014 automatically appears in the center of the table wherever the table is. If it's center aligned, in the center. If it'll be left aligned, then whatever is that center point of the table, irrespective of the alignment of the table, so it'll not be in the center of the page, it will always be in the center of the table. So that's what the caption tag does. It adds a caption to the table, and that caption stays with the table. One more property over here that I would like to explore is a property called summary. Now there are browsers that do not support tables. So even though those are very old school text-based browsers, but still there are people like that who are still sitting behind there, then this is where you can store some summary information just in case if they can't see the table, they can at least read about the summary information. So I can basically talk about here, this table holds personal contact information. So as soon as I save this information into my table, I won't see that when I refresh my page. Only those people who do not have browsers that support tables will be able to see this information. Similarly, there are two more properties that HTML programmers use with tables. One is called cell padding and one is called cell spacing. Now it's important to understand the difference between cell spacing and cell padding. Cell padding, the larger the number is, the more it will going to give the space inside the cell. So the text in the cell will be moving away from the borders of the cell. Cell spacing, on the other hand, is the distance between the cells in a table. So now if I give 0 pixels to cell spacing and cell padding, both of them a value of 0 pixels, now this is how my table appears now, and this is how it will going to appear. Notice there is no gap whatsoever left between any of my cells, and within a cell the contents are as close to the border as can. You can see it with Cox. It is almost touching the line, or Chicago or Boston is almost touching the line inside the cell. However, if I go back to my code and I increase my padding to, let's say, 7, I'm only increasing my padding to a value of 7. So now if I come out here and I refresh this page, now notice how stretched out it is compared to what it was before. However, the cells are still right next to each other because I'm using a cell spacing of 0. Now, if I go back to my editor and change my cell spacing to 10 pixels, which is a pretty large number basically, but notice you'll going to notice a little bit of a difference in the output. Okay, how spaced the cells are right now compared to what they were before. So cell spacing and cell padding allow you to control the spacing within the cell or around the cell. Similarly, we have a property called height. If I would like to increase the height of one particular row or the height of the entire table, just like I can use the width property, I can use the height property. So let's say my heading row, or the row that holds my personal contact information and a couple of other cells that spans the entire table. So if I come down here to line number 13 and I say, okay, I would like the height to be 70 pixels. So now if I go and refresh, notice the height of that one particular row has increased. It didn't really affect those cells that were anyway spanning multiple rows. However, it greatly affected that one cell that was only being used in that one particular row. And you can see that it is maintaining the alignment. It is maintaining the alignment that it is center and it is in the middle. So there are two different kinds of alignments. There's a vertical alignment, which has three positions: top, middle, and bottom. And then we have a horizontal alignment, which has a position of left, center, and right. Now I would like to give height to the row that holds all the headings. So let's say if I give it a height of 50 pixels, okay. And now what I would like to do is I would like to use a v-align property, which is vertical align, and I would like the text to be touching the base of the row, because by default it is middle and center. So now if I come and run this in a browser, you can notice that it has been moved slightly downwards. However, it's still not touching the base, because remember, my padding has been set to a value of 7 pixels. But now let me go back to the editor and change my cell padding to a lower number, let's say 1. And now notice, as I come and refresh this, it is very close to the baseline. It's still 1 pixels away. So that's how you can be controlling some of these properties by using several HTML tag properties. Next, we will going to explore some of the other properties in CSS, in HTML tables. For example, we would now like to explore a property called frame. The frame property allows you to give different frame values for your table, such as if you would only like to display the top border, you can use a value of above, bottom border below. You could use all for sides, which is default, which is border, or box. Then you can use 8 sides for horizontal sides. Then you can use V sides for vertical sides. You could use void if you do not want to display any borders, or LHS if you only want to display the left-hand side border, and RHS if you want to display only the right-hand side border. However, to get the best results, what we do is we set the cell spacing to a value of 0. And let me jack up the value for border so that you can really see it happening, that it's a thicker border. Then I can also be using another property for the coloring of the border, and that's called the border color property. And let's say if I use a value of navy, which is navy blue, and for the frame, let's say if I use a value of above, that I only want to see the above frame. So if I would go to my browser here, and now you will be able to see the above border, okay, right over here. It's an above border, and it's 10 pixels. And that's basically what the frame does. And it removes, as you can see very easily, it doesn't has any right border or any of the bottom borders. So that's what basically the frame property does. It changes the look and feel of the table, and it allows you to give different types of framings to this table. Similarly, we have another property called rows. We have another property called rules. The rules property is used to control the inside line of a table. So it supports the property values such as all, columns, none, or rows. By default, it is all. That means display all the lines within the table. However, if I set it to rows, now notice how it will going to display the output. That it only shows you the lines between the rows, and it doesn't show the lines between the columns or any of the other lines. That's basically a rules property. But you can notice it still shows you the frame, which is right up top. So that's what basically the rules property does. So these are some of the HTML table tag properties that HTML plays around with to give you different look and feel. However, in the next tutorial, we'll look into some CSS properties and how they can enhance your table's look and feel. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.